Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, February 8, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, let me know what did that be like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at some expert insights from Andy Hazelton here. He's actually a physical scientist at the National Weather Service, and from time to time he makes some accurate posts about the Atlantic hurricane season. If you remember, he made numerous posts last year about what the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season would have been like, and the majority of these posts verified. Now he's highlighting what the 2025 hurricane season might be like, and he made this post today at 9:48 a.m. stating, interesting that the vast majority of NMMA models, that's the GFS members, don't agree with the ECMWF heading for El Nino by fall and instead are mostly cool neutral. Definitely a case where the spring barrier will come into play as we see which way spring MGO forcing causes the tropical Pacific to start leaning. So he's speaking about ENSO, that's the El Nino Southern Oscillation. He's referring to El Nino and La Nina, and we have to go back to this map highlighting the sea surface temperature anomalies if we really want to understand what all of that is about. Alright, so for reference, we have the Atlantic Basin right over here, all the way from Africa across the main development region into North America and Central America, and right here is where we focus our attention in regards to the ENSO. So we know that when we have the blues, that's below average temperatures, that represents a La Nina like pattern, and that's what we are in right now. And we know that definitely favors more upward motion, more storminess, more storms, more systems in our neck of the woods in the Atlantic, while it basically shuts down activity in the eastern to central Pacific. But when we have the very warm ocean temperatures over this side of the world in the Pacific, we basically have a flip. We have more upward motion in this side of the world, and there are more thunderstorms, more tropical waves that basically were intertwined with the intertropical convergence zone, becoming more tropical storms, if not hurricanes, as they push out towards the west or even into Mexico, and thus causing a lot of upper level wind shear across the entire Atlantic basin, tearing the tops of these thunderstorms off, sometimes even bringing droughts to the Atlantic in general. So we didn't have an El Nino last year, we had a La Nina. But what Andy Hazelton is stating is that the GFS is highlighting the fact that most of the members are showing a more cool neutral like kind of pattern. So right now we're down here in La Nina range, below normal sea surface temperature range, but the forecast has majority of the members right here in the cool neutral range. Neutral is right where we have this line, and if we're above the zero, above the line, it would be basically warm neutral. If we're above the other line, we would basically be in El Nino. So right now we're in this territory, the La Nina phase, and majority of the members are showing more of a cool neutral kind of pattern, basically from the GFS ensembles. However, he's stating that the ECMWF ensembles are more inclined to believe that we might be in for an El Nino, if not a warm neutral kind of signal. We see most of the members going way above the zero line that represents neutral. So we definitely have some clash. We have some disagreement from the GFS here and from the Euro. It's just a waiting game to see exactly what exactly unfolds, and he stated it best that we're gonna be having to wait for the spring barrier. We have to wait for spring in March, April, May to know exactly what will happen regarding the Pacific, to know if we'll be getting an El Nino where we have more activity in the eastern to central Pacific, basically shutting down the activity in the Atlantic, or we'll be having more of a La Nina like pattern with more of the activity across the Atlantic basin, less activity across the eastern to the central Pacific. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you updated with anything else from Andy Hazelton, and you can follow his page as well on X. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro model that came out at 3:30 p.m. today, as well as the latest GFS model that came out at 6 p.m. today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes also focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. Alright, so let us see what's going to be happening. As we head into Sunday, we can see that Sunday morning definitely has some dots of greens across northeastern parishes for sure. That represents moisture. We also see some moisture to the southwest of Jamaica, some moisture in and around the Dominican Republic and the Eastern Caribbean, very wet over there as well. Then as we head into Sunday afternoon, very interesting, we see some dots of greens across sections of some southern parishes. We'll see how that actually goes. Either way, heading into Monday morning, northeastern parishes again with the morning rainfall. Don't see much for Monday afternoon. But Tuesday, we see the morning rainfall across northern and eastern Jamaica once again. Central and western Jamaica during Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday, what do we see? Well, we do see some dots of greens across eastern parishes. Very interesting. Then by afternoon, central and western parishes getting in on the action too. That's for Wednesday. What about on Thursday? Thursday afternoon, we actually see some moisture across central and eastern Jamaica, especially across the water to the south of us heading into Central America. And then we're looking here now on a Friday. We definitely see some dots of greens across eastern Jamaica, some moisture there. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the 168 hour mark. This is valid for 12Z, which is actually 7 a.m. on Saturday, February 15. And we do see moisture across eastern Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. We also see moisture right here extending from Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, all the way across to the south of Hispaniola, some of which definitely coming into portions of Jamaica. Either way, let us see what the GFS is showing for the same time period. We can see that as we head into Sunday, just like what the Euro model was showing, we see the greens across northeastern parishes that represents moisture for sure. And then by Sunday afternoon, just some dots of greens that represent moisture across southern parishes. Heading into Monday morning, something similar to Sunday morning with a rainfall across northeastern parishes. Not really seeing much on Monday afternoon according to the GFS, but Tuesday morning we already see the northeastern parishes getting rainfall and central and western parishes during Tuesday afternoon, just like what the Euro was showing. Wednesday afternoon, some dots of greens represent isolated shores across northwestern parishes as well as eastern parishes. We'll see how that actually goes. Thursday, not seeing much of anything. Friday, basically some isolated afternoon rainfall across southern parishes. And then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Saturday, February 15. And we can make out a lot of moisture across eastern Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Moisture across the eastern Caribbean into Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti. We also see northern and eastern Jamaica getting on some of the rainfall too. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast from both the Euro and the GFS models, basically showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, February 15. We can clearly see that the most rainfall is wherever we have all of these reds into burgundy colors that we see on the key on the right. That's the 1 inch to 2.5 inches of rainfall range. You also see the purples into the pinks, that's the 3 into the 5 inches of rainfall range. And most of that should be plaguing portions of northern South America into Central America, including sections of the Yucatan, Belize, sections of Guatemala, Honduras, eastern Honduras especially, eastern Nicaragua especially, Costa Rica, Panama into Colombia right here, western Venezuela, section of the ABC Islands. We see all of these areas shaded. Definitely going to be some rainfall there. Some of this rainfall definitely going to be plaguing the ABC Islands, section of eastern Venezuela, southern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana into Trinidad and Tobago, the Windward Islands all the way up into Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, sections of the Leeward Islands as well, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands, eastern Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic right here, into portions of far eastern Cuba, and portions of especially northeastern Jamaica. And we see that it's not only the GFS that we see here that's showing this forecast, but even the Euro model right here. I mean, look at the consensus, especially those areas shaded in the dark reds, purples and pinks, that represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 5 inches of rainfall. We're referring to Central America into portion of northern South America, and I'm pretty sure that the people who reside in those areas, either they're grateful for the rainfall or they're tired of the rainfall. But I'm pretty sure that all of that rainfall that's coming could definitely bring forth some amount of isolated flash flooding. So we just hope and trust that the people who live there are taking the necessary precautions so that they're not that drastically affected by what's to come. But if we switch gears and focus our attention on Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation, showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, February 15, we can clearly see all of the blues extending from east to west across the island. But the most rainfall over the next 7 days should clearly be across these areas in the northeast, including St. Mary, Portland for sure, with the GFS showing even the greens that represents all the way up to 20 millimeters of rainfall. The Euro definitely has been more robust for the past month, all the way up to 35 millimeters of rainfall expected over there in Portland, some of which could spill into sections of St. Thomas. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on our other social media platforms with whatever takes place. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have some frontal systems right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic, extending into portion of the eastern US. We can also see another frontal system right here to the north of the Cabo Verde Islands, and to the west of that frontal system is a ridge of high pressure that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities that we just saw on the surface map. The clouds associated with the frontal system extending into portion of the United States from the northern portion of North Atlantic, and we can also make out the clouds associated with that other frontal system right here to the north of the Cabo Verde Islands. We can even make out the low level to mid-level flow of the clouds pushing from east to west across the main development region through the Caribbean, all courtesy of the easterly flow brought about by the ridges of high pressure. We can even make out the upper level cirrus clouds being sheared off towards the north and east, all courtesy of the upper level wind shear coming off of South America. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, February 8, 2025. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some northern and eastern parishes on Saturday morning, also affecting sections of some southern and western parishes during Saturday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. And just like clockwork, we definitely got that rainfall across northern and eastern parishes, because at around 5:42 a.m. the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Doppler radar imagery was posted, highlighting such. Look at the greens that represent some light to moderate rainfall coming into sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland for sure. So we definitely had that early morning rainfall just as predicted coming into portions of eastern and northern parishes, definitely across eastern St. Thomas, getting in on the action. So this definitely verified, as we can see here being posted here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as you make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So that was what was predicted for the morning, northern and eastern parishes. Then southern and western parishes for the afternoon. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening at around 5:35 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted as well, highlighting clouds bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, across sections of some southern and western parishes. So anywhere from maybe northwestern St. Andrew into northern St. Catherine, northern or central Clarendon, sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland definitely got in on the overcast skies, if not some amount of isolated shower activity. And we can see the clouds even better right here on the HD visible close-up satellite imagery, showing all of these clouds building and sitting on top of these southern and western parishes, especially across St. Elizabeth, where we might have had a convection burst. Definitely had some showers across Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth for sure. And if we load these images from earlier, we can even see where some squalls were coming in to portions of eastern Portland as well. So they definitely got on some isolated showers too. And the infrared confirms what was just mentioned. The small burst of convection right here across northern St. Elizabeth. We saw the high cold cloud top being sheared off to the east quickly, just a brief burst of convection, nothing too drastic. It's not the thunderstorm season at all. Doesn't mean we can't get thunderstorms, but conditions aren't that conducive for that kind of activity, which explains why we don't see the sparkling white dots that we know represent lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had some decent rainfall for sure across sections of St. Elizabeth, spilling into sections of Westmoreland. And we have here See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing what was happening across halfway tree at around 3:35 p.m. We can see people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely windy, definitely sunny. That was the case for a majority of the day in halfway tree. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, you can visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. They have these live streams up there for free, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. If we also take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite a picture of how we might have had the isolated shower activity today, especially across northeastern Jamaica during the morning, then sections of some western parishes and inland areas of some central parishes, especially southern Jamaica, during the afternoon for sure. And if we take a look right here at some of the comments that came in from some of our followers as well as some of our subscribers, we have Lawrence Davidson 6195 stating, nice sunny day in Mobay. My solar power batteries were fully charged by 2 p.m. Thanks for confirming the weather up there. We also have Bob Brown 3953 stating moderate rain in St. Mary. Thank you for confirming that as well. This was posted 11 hours ago. We even have one comment here from one of our followers on our Facebook page. That's Verona Burke stating raining in Outages. Thank you very much for confirming that too. This was posted at 6:42 a.m. in the parish, well, from the parish of St. Anne. So thank you very much for confirming that we saw on the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery. Alright, so let us see what's happening right now from the Weather Nerds website. Let us look at the latest still image, and the latest still image is showing 23:35 UTC. There's gonna be a new image coming out in just a minute, but we can see as of right now just some milky clouds right here across southwestern Westmoreland. Also see some clouds right here to the south of the southeastern portion of the island, to the south of St. Thomas. Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar still glitched out since February 3rd, the 3rd of February into the 4th of February. Can't see anything up to this point, February 8th. And the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery is what we have to depend on, but we're not seeing much of anything across eastern Cuba or Jamaica right now. Unfortunately, we don't even have this is the Cayman radar to show. They've stated radar offline for maintenance. Boy, these things happen. We know important Doppler radar images they actually show the actual rainfall, as opposed to satellite images that can show cloud cover over an area, not necessarily rainfall. Alright, so let us take a look at what's happening right now. According to See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we're looking towards New Kingston. We can also see the Halfway Tree Transport Center right here. Definitely beautiful as we lose the sunset. All of the lights coming on in Kingston for sure. Guess we're looking towards the hills of St. Andrew now. Yeah, so you can visit See Jamaica if you want to see more of these. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, or where they should be getting as the night progresses. Around 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight orange colors. Now we can see from the key on the right that represents up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, and we know the normal temperature for the month of February across Jamaica is around 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.1 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 all the way up to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here to highlight. We definitely have to highlight these for sure, because we know that when we have power outages, it can definitely exacerbate the heat, making the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. So all of these are valid for Sunday, February 9, 2025. Coming from, well, that's going to be affecting Snow Hill and Columbus Heights in St. Anne from 9 a.m. well, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We also have Fairfield to Johns Hall in St. Anne as well, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I guess this is another one. Hold on, I think they made an error. Yeah, look at the same. We have the same places here, but for different parishes, unless there's another Fairfield and another Johns Hall in St. James from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll see how it actually goes. If anybody is in the comments who can confirm, where are those areas located? Is it St. James or is it actually St. Anne? Which one of these is the error? We also have Key Ives Road, part of Sheepen, New Forest, of Alligator Pond Main Road in St. Elizabeth from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Either way, if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, as usual, we have some tips right here to beat the heat. It stays here: dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children and elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. Avoid alcohol and caffeine, as they can make dehydration worse. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day. Even if you're not thirsty, drink lots and lots of water, as well as putting away those sugar drinks. Drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see an abundance of dry air extending all the way across the entire Atlantic basin into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico right there. You can clearly see that the most dry air is right here off the coast of Africa. We have these dark reds into whites, and we can see a mixture of some of the moist air too. We see the blues across the eastern Pacific into the southern portion of the Atlantic's main development region to the east of French Guiana there. And we can also see some yellows in there across portion of the Caribbean. Yellows definitely representing some moist air for sure. That's what we want to see. We want to see the moist air, because we know that when the air is moist, it can definitely bring forth some isolated showers. And we saw it. We saw the moist air within all of these clouds. Wherever we have these clouds passing through, that's where the air is moist. Definitely some isolated showers within all of those pushing from east to west. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, the forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday has North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Northern South America, and Central America in the clear, because all of the browns here represent the Saharan dust should be across portions of the main development region right here. And we're indeed grateful that we're not seeing that vigorous of a plume either, that we know is represented by the dark shades of browns. Know that when we have that, that means we can have a vigorous plume that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So we're indeed grateful that that's what the Saharan dust forecast is looking like for 2 p.m. on Sunday. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change at all. The lowest waves across the Gulf of Mexico into the northwestern Caribbean, as represented by the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues, as we can see from the key on the bottom right, that represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height, while the purples into the pinks extending from the southwestern Caribbean across the waters of the central Caribbean to the eastern Caribbean, especially to the east of the eastern Caribbean islands. That's where the highest waves should be for sure. We're talking about anywhere from 2 to 3, maybe even 3.5 meter wave heights. Waters to the north of Jamaica, 1.8 meter wave heights. Waters to the south of Jamaica, up to 1.8 meter wave heights as well, maybe 1.9 near the eastern end. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly, we have the dull greens representing 5 to 10 knots across the Gulf of Mexico into the northwestern Caribbean, which explains the low wave heights there. But across the central Caribbean to the eastern Caribbean, that's where we have the bright greens into the yellows that represent anywhere from 15 all the way up to 25 knot winds for sure. And we can definitely see the flow of the winds across the eastern Caribbean coming in from the east northeast for sure. We see that flow even extending all the way down into portions of the southwestern Caribbean. And if we zoom in on Jamaica regarding our winds, we can clearly see more of an east-northeasterly flow, or a northeasterly flow, averaging 16 knots on the north coast, definitely 15 knots on the south coast, definitely could be curving as well. Either way, we also see that the air could be piling up across sections of some southwestern parishes, maybe the same spots that we had the rainfall today, maybe sections of St. Elizabeth, sections of Westmoreland getting in on the daytime heating rainfall, and whatever comes off of the sea from the northeast coming into portions of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anna for sure in the morning hours. And we know some of this could definitely spill into sections of some southern parishes. We'll see exactly how it goes, and we can also see that the upper level winds are going to be coming in from the southwest. So it's not going to be coming in from the west like what we've been having since yesterday when we and what happened today too. We had a brief convection burst pushing out to the east. If something like that should happen tomorrow, it's not going to be going this way like what happened. It's going to be going that way because upper level winds are shifting in from the southwest. So if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map here from the Euro and this map here from the GFS are both showing 6 a.m. on Sunday. And we can clearly see that there's consensus, there's agreement on both models for rainfall, represented by the blue color here, across sections of some northeastern parishes. Definitely St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland, especially Portland. And then by around 10 a.m. we still see the same area shaded, St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland, maybe section of St. Thomas getting in at the mix. And then by afternoon, 3 p.m. on Sunday, what do we see on both maps? Clearly both maps are showing the blues that represent some isolated shores across sections of St. Elizabeth. Even although the Euro is trying to incorporate rainfall still, across sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, and even section of St. Andrew. The GFS not showing any of that. It's just adamant about the St. Elizabeth afternoon rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs, and we'll definitely take it for sure. Clearly, both the Euro and the GFS models accumulated precipitation forecast maps are adamant that the most rainfall over the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday should be plaguing the northeast, where we see these greens into yellows. Euro showing all the way up to 0.21 of an inch of rainfall across Portland. GFS only up to at least 0.16 of an inch of rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and as stated, we'll definitely take it. You know why? Because we're in our dry season. We're in the month of February, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to at least 19 millimeters of rainfall for the month of February. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.9 inches of rainfall for the month of February. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of February or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and that website to show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some low-level patches of clouds pushing through the Caribbean islands, especially the Eastern Caribbean. Definitely have some rainfall embedded in all of those clouds. We also have some moisture coming into portions of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and section of Belize. See a lot of thunderstorm activity across section of Colombia, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. And if you take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let us see what's happening right now across Puerto Rico. We do see some showers across sections of northern and eastern, even southwestern Puerto Rico. The water is in and around Puerto Rico, definitely moist for sure. We also see the US and British Virgin Islands getting some hit or miss isolated showers. So too the islands around the Leeward Islands, maybe in and around Antigua and Barbuda, getting some action. And if we load these images from about 1:10 p.m. today, we can see the flow of the rainfall coming in from the east, pushing from east to west, affecting section of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. St. Kitts and Nevis might have gotten some of the action too, so too Dominica. And if you take a look right now at the Barbados radar, you can see rainfall, hit or miss isolated showers passing through as we speak, with more to come as the night progresses. Look at all of this rainfall coming into Barbados. Looking south, we can see rainfall coming into Trinidad and Tobago too. So to Grenada, St. Vincent, not seeing much across the Grenadines right now, but that could change later on. You can also see rainfall coming into section of St. Lucia as we speak. So to Martinique, especially northeastern Martinique, getting in some heavy rainfall too. Dominica getting on some of the action as well. And if we take a look at the wide view of Doppler radar images, you can see that rainfall that's currently plaguing northern Guatemala, Belize, sections of the ABC Islands, especially to the north of there. So too sections of Colombia getting out some of the action. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall should be where we have these oranges. These reds that represents up to 1 inch of rainfall. Definitely going to be plaguing Colombia for the most part. So too Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, Panama, western, southern and eastern Venezuela, Guyana and Suriname. And we see the greens into the yellows that represent the isolated shores that are already plaguing portions of the eastern Caribbean, from Trinidad and Tobago northward, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, sections of St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe. So too sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Eastern Cuba, and sections of northeastern Jamaica. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.